had enough of that Aurelia. I'm not a big fan of the Vel'Koz blind pick either. So hoping that we see a bit of a change in tune coming through. Now, they banned 3 OPs, you'll remember, on the blue side. They're only going to get 2 and the Aurelia here. Aurelia was kind of right next to those big champions as one to consider with the meta shift that happened over the break for Asia Games. See what the final ban is from Gen.G. They'll have to drop a ban here. No Akali ban yet, you'll notice, on the blue side.
I expect the Akali, but they're going to let it go through. They're going to challenge Faker and the gang and say, I mean, if Akali goes to SKT, it's going to Faker, right? He's going to be the guy who's playing it. And Tara should not show up. They are going to ban the Talia away, as that was kind of a forced one after the Olaf ban. So what is first pick here?
Now, you can first pick Akali and flex it to top, because Cuvé's played plenty of it in solo queue, but they get access to the Gragas. But this is not Ambition's Gragas. That's why SKT make the adjustment. It's Haru in the lineup, who isn't legendary Gragas jungle. Could, of course, be in another lane and support Gragas becoming more common. But this is calculated by SKT. I'm not sure about those calculations from Gen.G. They're not going to be blind picking a mid laner unless it's Akali, you'd imagine. They're going to be taking the Tahm Kench.
Tahm Kench is a must in my mind, especially with all the disruption from Gragas. But do you go ahead and pick up that AD carry now, or just go ahead and pick up the Akali for Faker? All eyes on him, even the camera, as that is the big question for now.
See, I wouldn't mind the first round Akali, and it could still be at Faker's pick for himself, because remember, Crown's not much of a Galio play. He's played it, but he picked it up very late in history when the AP Galio came back. He was never on the train. That's one of the picks into it. He's not much of a Swain player. That's another pick into it. I don't know exactly what Crown's effective champion pool will be. Maybe Lissandra. That's something he's been practicing in solo queue, so maybe trying to bait it out a bit like we saw baited out from Fnatic for the EULCS final. Schalke played the Lissandra matchup. Still, Gen.G, we'll see what they take. Varus Braum available if they want it. The Braum, though, a pretty slam dunk pick into the Ornn in particular.
Yeah, gotta like that pick. It's gonna be good unless you're super far behind, have to use the Unbreakable early, which I believe we did see in game number 1, if I'm not mistaken. What's gonna be the AD carry, though? You have Kai'Sa available, you have the Ashe, the Varus even, but they're going to go with the Ashe.
And Varus Tahm Kench could be the replacement, but now you don't have quite the same suite of utility with the Ashe Tahm Kench they come. The Kindred left open again, not going to be attended to. I think you understand the priority here. If you're going to make one adjustment, the Aurelia was the big one. The Olaf seems to be another coverage ban for the jungle matchup. It's going to be Predator Gragas on the blue side. First ban when it comes to mid laners, no mid laner selected. They're looking for blind pick choices for Crown. You don't really think the Akali, even though I'm sure he's been playing in solo queue, saw in his match history. So the Zoe is a much more plug and play ban.
Yeah, that Akali bait not really taken so far. It's pretty interesting to see. Blank looked really good on the Kindred, I have to say.
The best mind game here is if you just select your AD carry at Bang's pick, then Gen.G are not going to blind pick Lissandra, because there's so many picks you can go to as Faker that beat Lissandra as a short-range mage. So then you can just take Akali as last pick overall into a much more normal matchup. You blind Lissandra, it might just be Orianna coming through from SKT, trying to outrange her, take cleanse, and not be worried about the all-in. So I feel like the champion pool could be a problem, and Gen.G actually bans Akali because they realize that sort of a ruse can come through from SKT.
Yeah, and that's a big question now. What will go to the hands of Faker? We saw a lot of Aurelia Yasuo bans a little bit earlier on. Akali banned out every single game now in different phases. Ezreal looking to be the pick here for Bang, but how about a Yasuo? Look at that flash. That tells so much from SKT.
Even better than a Yasuo lock-in blind, a Yasuo hover to punish, because now Gen.G say, wait, what doesn't lose to the Yasuo? So now we're getting really into the mind games here. Is it just screw it Victor time? Because again, we always talk about he's been away from the Victor all year. Syndra, another blind pick you could consider. What's coming in the mid lane here? I think SKT would be so happy to see a Vel'Koz.
You know, Pop, I don't think that's the pick we're going to be seeing here from Crown. But hey, Crown's let me down before. We'll see.
Rise
is available. I like that.
Kind of deals with every lane. We know about Time Warp, Tonic, Biscuits, and also the Corrupting Potion. So I like that one. Just another champion that slipped through. How will Faker take into this? The LeBlanc is open. That was a blind pick for other mid laners, not so much a Crown pick, even though he's played it before. Well, we see the LeBlanc answer. This is a skill matchup between the Rise. Rise usually does pretty well in this matchup, but LeBlanc can snowball through. How about some manners? How about a Vel'Koz for the side of SKT?
Bit of a pat on the back there onto Crown as the smile, the smirk, he knows what this is about.
It's a counter matchup for Vel'Koz, though. We see it all the time in the regular season. By the end with the Rise first pick meta, Vel'Koz into it works. This is definitely a different time for Vel'Koz. However, it's Haru on Camille, the #1 pick, first pick every game in China that we never see in Korea. Haru's one of the few that have their brains truly twisted on to be able to pull off the aggressive paths that a Camille can take against Cleanse. Vel'Koz, it gives you some safety, but if Camille can find a will, sometimes she finds a way.
We've seen her do well. You have to have a good early game. You don't want to get behind and be in this awkward spot where you don't have enough gold to rush to Trinity Force and miss out on that timing after the Warriors, but Haru is the one guy who can do it. We could see early ganks from him, try to pressure and get a flash at a Faker early. Maybe Untara, we saw Ambition trying to pressure early on in game #1. Maybe this is the time to go for that with the Gragas in the lane.
And this is an observer's dream because top lane boring, bot lane boring. The 2v2 jungle mid is PogChamp as hell. Wherever Camille goes, probably around mid, good things should happen. But if you're there for the right counter gank, and SKT don't need spoilers to know exactly where Gen.G want to play, you can take them to the cleaners so we can focus on a lot of fun here, a lot of fire in the mid lane. Vel'Koz into Camille is pretty bold, but SKT knew what they were getting into.
We've seen this before. We'll see if Faker can pull it off, though, into that Camille, into the mid lane. The countdown has started. SKT on match point. Let's see if they can close it out.
소환사의 협곡에 오신 것을 환영합니다.
The Nexon Arena filled up to the brim now as we are entering the later stages of this series. It's been 3 quicker games, actually, here. 30 minutes, 29 minutes, and then 23 minutes. Pretty nice from these two teams.
Don't question it. Embrace it. It's loving embrace. We've had so many long macro games, and a bit of action can only do well. And I know I've been imploring Korea to look over the Chinese meta, look at the fact that they keep winning, and take advantage of early skirmishing, early fights. At the end of the day, there aren't the visions to play the Season 4, Season 5, Season 6 meta. In these days, you fight, you win the fight, you got more items, the enemy can't go somewhere, and that's your vision control. More early fighting, I think, can only help Korea as a region when Worlds comes around. SKT gonna deal with a little bit of movement here. The ward goes down. Faker does have this nice matchup until you factor in the level 2 ganking power of Camille.
That ward this time not going to be punished. Kind of funny to see that happen so many times in a row, but actually Ruler was able to push Bang away down on the bottom side.
No biscuits, but Time Warp Tonic for the Rise. As you can see, Phase Rush, the pretty common pickup here. Faker's actually gone into the Sorcery Tree. When we saw it before was Glacial Augment, going for the build that we saw in game #3. Did some more research and of course confirmed that's the full cool Vel'Koz build where you go for Glacial Augment and then the other slowing abilities, Twin Shadows, and also into what would have eventually been that GLP. In this game though, it's Comet, it's going to be very AP focused, lots of damage here to punish in the lane. We see Gen.G walk up for level 2.
Pushing forward here. The fact that they get that ward means that Haru knows that the Kindred not quite in onto that Scuttle Crab just yet. Priority down on the bottom side means that Braum is actually going to put in a deep ward to spot that out. That's a very good start when you have an aggressive jungler up against a guy like Blank who failed in 2 games in a row. He's going to be a little bit easier on the Kindred, but how can he do with a little bit more pressure?
One of the best matchups into Kindred is the Camille, and you might think, okay, melee versus range, surely this advantage to the Kindred, but Kindred is of course very frail, has those 80 carry base stats, and the hookshot hits so you kind of die pre-6, so you're giving out both Scuttle Crabs, 2-0 on this particular Scuttle Crab counter. You will see very soon registered on the top here. And Haru keeps going forward, and how about a mid lane gank?
Seen this before.
Cleanse used.
Very early cleanse, and well, trying to bait that one out. As Faker only going to use the cleanse, but it's a big deal, right? The Crown can go in, try to get a stun down, and even with the flash available, Faker could still die.
But because the deep ward went down and Blank said, okay, I don't want to die, I'm not going to go for any Scuttle Crab, sucks, but I'm giving up too. Crown actually gets the benefit of Haru getting everything, gets 2 Scuttles, and then doesn't have to flash to basically force Faker out of lane and cleanse as well. Didn't try to extend the range of his hook shot with a flash, just went for the tactical sweep. Faker had to cleanse the slow anyway. Real bad feels, and now Faker, we saw how things change when he falls away a bit in the mid lane. Doesn't have to flash this time like the Lulu game, but that's a nice advantage, Gen.G.
Gotta like it so far here from Haru. Would like to see him pick up some kills. You mentioned that the mid lane is going to be the focus of that one, but with the whole jungle farmed out here by Blank, you know he's going to be setting up his own defensive tent towards the mid lane. Going to be looking to throw down some wards too, cover that top side, as you guys can tell.
Now people might ask, all right, first pick, first ban, China winning, why no Camille jungle in Korea? And it's kind of a weird thing to think about, but it's honestly a product of the meta in Korea. It is very defense first. I talked about how I wanted the meta to be a bit more bloody in the early game, more fighting. That's the LPL meta, and that's where Camille, 1 through 6, is just like, thank you very much, another double kill. I stunned this person, they died to press the attack. If you just wait it out, Camille's sitting there with sort of a warrior and Trinity Force, but doesn't have it finished. There's no kills in the game, and kills inject gold, so you hit gold numbers earlier. The game hits 20,000 gold at LPL way before it hits 20,000 gold in Korea because we have that long lull in the early game, and thus Camille never gets going in that supreme way. If your first thought is to fight every time, Camille jungle is basically first pick, first ban. If your first thought is to kite back, which is the LCK way, then it doesn't work as well. So Haru wants this to be a bloody game. Let's see how SKT interact with that knowledge.
That's a very good point. They're going to need some really good defensive vision. So far, they have it on the top side. Faker will need to play around that side because they don't have any on the bottom side. Actually, some deep vision from Haru. You mentioned how it's not really a big pick in Korea. It's basically only Haru that plays it, as everybody else has kind of given up. We saw, I think, one game from Blank, and then he was like, I'm never doing this ever again. It's not an easy champion to play either. You have to be really on top of your mechanics, and you have to be confident because you miss one hook shot, you're going to be getting question mark pinged in solo queue. It's not a very forgiving one.
And there just are always going to be picks that work in one region and don't work in another. We saw NA with no Urgot games in the final. I feel like NALCS has a lot of trouble taking advantage of counter picks, for example, and things like that. So you'd think priority will work, but tanks just work, and now we're very down the lane.
Trying to get that stun onto Ruler, who does have a really nice slow there from the Vel'Koz. But again, this is a level 6 gank from Faker on a Vel'Koz coming to the bottom side.
I think he just didn't have priority around mid lane, was deathly afraid of just being dominated before his cleanse came up and said, I can do something bot and I definitely won't die. So just went for the roam, got a summoner out of it, a flash, a big one as well. Now Faker back to mid. It's actually going to be a TP, but it's just Core JJ coming in. Here we go.
Okay, Crown going to take a lot of damage here. Faker forced to flash away from that one. Core JJ just hopping over on top of that. So at the end of the day, definitely a win towards Gen.G.
A lot of health, though, taken down from Crown, but he's able to just pop some potions and be able to get through it. Pushes in, but no harm, no foul. He just got through one of his summoners being on cooldown, and this time it's a different one, but only a cleanse now for Faker. So from here, we should talk about what Gen.G have. Very good engage, Ashe Arrow, but also Camille and Gragas can be very creative in their engage, and Realm Warp for positioning. So playing a map game, they don't quite have the full Bonanza. Ashe Tom Kent would be kind of the full Bonanza from there, but they can play really good map games. SKT, and you have to deal with the fairly immobile mid lane wave clearer in the Vel'Koz, who's always consistently going to be down summoners, and there's not the same paddock for the Kindred to roam around. So very interested to see how this game goes. Given that both teams kind of have similar advantages, I'm very interested to see if the team that's ahead at 15 minutes just sticks to landing and wins, if that's the big spoiler in this particular game. Top lane, like we mentioned, very, very non-interactive. Two tank top laners, so keep the camera elsewhere.
The only way anything like that could happen in the top side is if you bring up, you know, in the Realm Warp, we were talking about maybe a teleport from Crown with a Hextech Ultimatum, but why go for that lane when you can go for the squishy Vel'Koz instead, or maybe even the bottom lane? So we'll see what they decide to do. They have massive control of the map right now. They're getting the 4th scuttle, I believe, over now to Haru already here at 8.5 minutes.
I know this sounds like an overextension, but this triangle of wards you see in the bottom right there around the blue buff, it secures them blue, but they actually need double wards just to secure things like a Gromp, because otherwise, we already know the Rift Scuttle, nope, no chance of getting there. Increasingly, that gets further and further when Realm Warp gets longer at level 11, with Camille getting her items. They control very little of their Fate bottom side right now, and that means that the Cloud Drake, doesn't matter if Haru falls to 300 health, it's a freebie.
It's going to be really nice for his pathing, also for closing the distance against some of the squishier targets on the side of SKT. You can see what Faker's doing in the mid lane. He is going to fall down in CS just because of the way this game is going. Doesn't have his flash, has to be scared of a Camille gank. They have Blank down on the bottom side. No flash just yet on Ruler and no heal on poor JJ. Blank's closer than Haru right now. We'll see if anything comes of it.
Double control wards meant they were never 100% sure Rise wasn't coming, but Cleanse up on efforts. So felt the ability to clear that ward. Anything they can get bottom side is a bonus for SKT. They're in definitely not a point of power or control, but CS, very, very hard to deny Ezreal if his support isn't roaming, so Bang keeps sniping away the CS, and Gen.G not turning it into a bigger advantage just yet. In fact, there's no gold lead for Gen.G, despite the obvious control of the map that we're seeing.
Just the Cloud Drake at this point. That's really where the gold advantage goes. The Kleptomancy on the side of Bang gets him farther ahead of the Ashe. And then, of course, Rise being up 14 CS. Crown over Faker means that it's just going to even itself out in the end.
So with Blank so far just being as safe as possible, will that window for Haru to take over the game actually be closed purely by inaction, like we talked about when it comes to the Korean jungle meta, and just in general, Korean way of playing the game? Unlike Kindred excels with low amounts of gold, but her ultimate just so much more reliable rather than a squishy frontliner diving in, ulting and dying like the Kindred can do. Crown goes back, picks up his blue buff. When do we hit the next level? Perhaps around the Rift Herald for Gen.G.
Did just spawn about a minute ago, and already a control ward over there for SKT. I'm sure they know that they're going to have a big struggle if they do want to try to contest that. Look at this play. Effort gonna gobble up that one, try to get just one mark over to the Kindred.
We're on the board, boys. No blanketing from the Scuttle Crabs. I realize the irony of it being blanketing for Blank, but, you know, can only comment on what you see. Bang keeps CSing, and again, despite what we're seeing, despite what we're talking about, the end result in terms of the numbers, it really isn't doing much for Gen.G.
Struggling along here, waiting and waiting for their moment. Still no Rift Herald play, still no clear on the control ward that's in there. Faker, he's got his flashback, so they weren't able to make anything of the play that they got a little bit earlier by getting us flash away. He is behind, but he is certainly not out of this one, as the Vel'Koz is waiting for the later game to pop off.
SKT continue to scale. It was the attempt they took in game number 1. They're returning to it here in game number 4, but not to the tune of the Kai'Sa or anything like that. And she's trying to push forward, but a couple of Cloud Drakes isn't necessarily going to be the biggest prize for this Camille Rise duo, and they've never actually killed Faker or stopped his CS from getting to like a huge level. At this point, 20 CS is a nice lead for 12 minutes, but kind of what is expected when they've had those decently effective ganks around the mid lane, in action top side, and farm, farm, farm.
I love the Observer. He's like, please do something in the top lane. Well, Observer, that's not the lane to look at. 19.9 to 19.9 is the gold lead. We were happy to get that action in game number 3. You were saying it, Papa, don't complain about it if you're going to get it, but this definitely looks like a quintessential Gen.G game if I've ever seen one.
But it's also SKT playing to the tune of the enemy comp and saying, this is what they want, let's not give it to them. And while it again isn't to the benefit of, say, double late game carries, a Kai'Sa, a Zir, it still does remove one of the big areas where Gen.G could snowball the game through Haru. So 0-0-0 scoreline on a Camille. You'll never see this in the LPL, but recently happens in Korea. Waves are pushed forward, 2 or 3 minions are lost, but no more for the side of Gen.G. Mentioned this objective though, they'd love a Rift Herald, but for now, not going to be started.
Finally, the vision is going to be cleaned up there. You would love some kills, especially on a jungle Camille. We've seen a bunch of LCK players play it in the top lane, even QV doing that. You get a lot of farm much faster compared to the jungle, so you're able to hit that Trinity Force timing a lot faster. Not quite the case if you're getting 0 kills in the jungle. We'll see what kind of build Haru does want to go for. I would expect to still see that, but that timing will come a bit later.
And SKT just been more creative around objectives. Again, Rift Herald's kind of a weird, not Rift Herald, I'd say. Rift Scuttle's kind of a weird objective to talk about because it's so small and it's not even reflected in a perfect game. But 2 in a row have happened because Efric got lane priority, walked up and cleared. Same here though.
Not expecting the rise in the bush with the control ward. Blank gonna take half his health and damage. They really want to fight this 3v3 right now.
Plenty of patience onto Shelly so they can keep making these plays and moving away from Faker.
Two-shot barrage comes in, and they're like, oh, okay, this is too low. We can't get this. We'll give it over to the side of Haru. Good secure there by Gen.G, who are going to look to, on the back of that Rift Herald, push forward this game.
I actually really like how they played around that long leash range from Shelly and moved her away from top lane, so Ornn from just wave clearing wasn't going to happen. Able to move her away from Faker so he couldn't just ult for any sort of contest. They minimized the true threat of SKT fighting over it, and it was pretty inventive from Gen.G after SKT had been inventive with the Devourers to pick up 2 Scuttles.
Gotta like the small things in a game like this.
Well, there aren't any big things, Valdez.
Yeah, exactly.
The big things are farm, farm, farm.
That's what I was getting to, Papa.
Yep.
Glad to see we're on the same page here.
Hey, we've been together this whole year, mate. We've
know.
been there watching the 8.1 meta, so, you know, we enjoy that the 8.15 has a bit more texture to be enjoyed normally, but also, you look at what it says on the tin. It says Korean League of Legends, and 60 minutes in with 0 kills. We've been there before.
Yeah. Well, how about a second Cloud Drake? You mentioned before, it is just a Cloud Drake. No Infernal, but a lot of extra speed for your Camille to get around the map. Ryze is always going to love that extra speed as well. The percentage got to be pretty good for him.
Do consider, though, that Camille, again, Warriors in chat, super fast double Cloud Drake and Boots 2. She dives in. She doesn't really have much assist. I guess Ryze and Gragas could show up next to her, but I find it a lot slower to close the distance usually, and they don't have a dive comp. So from there, unless the Camille's killing people, which at this item point isn't going to happen, the validity of that playstyle with this slow inaction doesn't necessarily suit what Camille wants to do. However, QV on a walk.
They didn't see him come in here, but look at Blank. He is in position. Only a couple of wards to spot out any plays towards that. Probably the call came from the top side. Effort again is going to give this one over to Blank. And that's definitely a good look for him, trying to secure some objectives for his Kindred.
Feels a bit fool me once, twice, 3 times, though, because he's made the exact same 3 plays. Could argue, well, Rift Scuttle bot lane each time, thanks RNG, but I think Gen.G should be more on top of that. They should have been free scuttles, should have been 7-0, but this is getting some gold onto Blank. It means he actually has a QSS to not just kind of be a ward most of the time. We'll be able to guarantee that ultimate when he wants it.
Haru in the bush, waiting to use that one. Faker would love a knock-up. Not going to get it here on a Crown. Neither the knock-up nor the flash. Faker going to lose half his health. Good play there by Crown. Juve looking for the engage, though, on the top side.
Just zoning, want this mid lane turret, and finally an objective. My Kingdom of an objective said Gen.G. Exactly. You got to cheer for them, Valdez, when it's been a game like this.
They did something.
Hey!
Nicely done, Gen.G.
If they pair it up with a scuttle, we got to start shouting. Take your shouts when you can get it.
Yeah. Well, good job to them. This time, Haru actually looks less aggressive than Ambition did when it comes to the heat map. That sounds weird to say.
Somehow they traded places. I never thought it would end up like this.
Yeah. Haru's got that sad smirk on his face. It's like, don't judge me for just this game. We didn't get to see him as much in 2018, even especially in summer compared to spring.
RNG gods have blessed Haru. Finally, a topside scuttle. If Tahm Kench realm warps over there and devours the scuttle into the red buff, I will maybe lose my mind.
Is it a good play?
No. It's not a good play, but it'd be a funny one.
It's a good play because there's no action. I can't even make that a good play. But we'll see if SKT have a different method of trying to tie up the Rift Scuttler count.
And if you're falling asleep at home, might be very late or very early, depending on where you are, and just want to know the summary of the first 20 minutes, SKT really didn't want to fight around the Camille. They didn't fight around the Camille, and thus, you would say, the inaction does favor SKT. There's no big gold lead for Gen.G.
Yeah, just about 1,000. A lot of that going to the Rise.
Oh, a lane swap.
Okay. Crown, though, is just going to roam up to the top side, and that means that that bottom turret is going to go down, and Crown keeps the top one alive. That does mean that Gen.G get a little bit of extra gold and a bit of an extra lead here in this game.
They're chipping ahead, but that actually does cement a lead. SKT trying to go with the late lane swap to answer. It's Crown.
Crown totally caught out here. He has a giant shield and the phase rush. The laser, though! May it get him? Yes, it will! The red buff, the damage there. The red smite from Blank is going to get the kill. First blood at just about 20 minutes goes to Blank.
The red smite, I believe, did it. If minion aggro did it, that's real feels bad for Crown. His Nikes are in full effect from the phase rush. First kill of the game at 20 minutes. Goes the way of SKT. Blank picks it up, and with those scuttles, that'll allow him to actually put together some items after no action early game.
Definitely a really good look to him. Did have that QSS right after Warrior Enchant, by the way, so he was right on top of that. Was not going to be held down by the Rise.
Seeing assist pings around the Baron, I believe, for vision control in the area. Not going to be starting that one. Effort was on a walk, but not going to be punished in any means. He back away. Crown going for the double Nikes build here. Look at this. He's actually gone for the Spellbinder for a 2-item spike. It used to be Shirelia's earlier in the season, but that item was changed. A bit of less of gold efficiency, adding the Fairy Charm and things to it. Ruler knows that there's plenty of SKT members around. How are we going to react to this?
Yeah, I mean, Rise is just supposed to be a pick that you can play safe and basically never die on. He had the Spellbinder for that gank, and still he went down. Now they're looking for another one as Crown. He doesn't have his flash this time around. That's going to be 0-2 to him. They give the kill over to Intara, as now SKT finally finds some proactivity in this game.
Intara slams him down to the Netherrealm with that kill. Action happening around the Camille. Again, quintessential LCK Camille game. Very nice movement from SKT. You walk up too far with no Summoner's Crown. Doesn't matter how many Nikes you have. He didn't even have his shield from the Archangel Seraph's Embrace off cooldown yet.
They get the knockup right before that Realm Warp is able to get in there. Smacked down by Orantara, as you put it very well. Papa Smithy, that's going to be an easy kill. No flash on him. He used a Spellbinder, but still not able to run away from that one.
He'll have the shield next time, but they keep taking down the enemy. Mistake made by Gen.G. Profit for SKT. You have a more reliable person take advantage of mistakes in the Camille, but never to have it happen. There's not even a flash being used by Haru the first 22 minutes. Haru rebuilds. They try to take over bot side, but they may have 2 Cloud Drakes on the side of SKT, but the third one, SKT is going to look over. Don't know if Gen.G can actually get that third.
Gen.G looking for this, though. Teleport on to Crown, running on down. There's the teleport from Bang. 5 members of SKT going to come in here and try to secure this Cloud Drake. Should be theirs. Haru looking for that Smite Steal. Is not able to get it as Bang gets it, actually. The Ornn Ultimate. Oh, nice cast to knock him out of that one, so no follow-up could come out of Ornn. In the end of the day, the Cloud Drake does go the way of SKT, though.
Another objective to SKT, and watch the formation they're in. Consider how hard the Vel'Koz in our previous game found it to actually make things happen, whereas this Vel'Koz is in formation with a strong defensive front line and able to open up at a moment's notice. Doesn't happen there, but things really coming together for SK Telecom T1. Love how they're playing out their draft. They waited out the Camille, and now Camille going to have that slow Trinity Force. And in the Pandemonium, will she ever get any damage off is the question.
Still looking for a play here is Haru. He got the Rift Herald, and that was about it. That was his one moment to shine. He doesn't want to be remembered as just that random Camille player that could never really find success in summer. So we'll see what he can do as the game goes on. He's still going to be strong against Vel'Koz, but how about a Vel'Koz that can blow you up in about 2 seconds?
Seems like that's on the menu. 2 items already, finished a very nice speed. It's Comet, it's a full damage build coming here. Might go Liandry's next, he's got more ability power. Wait and see what the choice is. Not going to be the utility build that we saw coming through from Crown in the previous game. No interrupt, last half second there, you have that invulnerability, so Ruler goes back, he's going to teleport in. Ornn's walking up. Do we hear an Ornn horn very soon?
This is Untar's job in this game. I blow the Ornn horn, I go in and I knock people up, and I bring SKT to a victory for them to show up against Griffin. That's his job. He seems to be playing because he's more reliable than Tall, and, well, can't really argue with that after 4 games of Ornn.
Again, you had so much data. I guess Faker was away for a while, but you had so much data, SKT and Scrims, over this 4.5 weeks that whatever was working in Scrims is what you go for, because it's not like what was working in the LCK was anything you could fall back on. Untara never in there during the regular season, gets here now, even after the postseason, all the way to regional qualifiers. And I wonder if you're sitting there as CV Max, you think, hey, maybe blue side Ornn ban has to happen to force him onto something from this comfort.
Well, no pro player is going to enter a pro match with only 1 pick, but Ornn, as you mentioned, is like kind of on the edges of the meta, so perhaps they thought nobody would ever ban Ornn. I guess you could just play Ornn 4 games in a row.
Of the KR meta, here's my very obvious spoiler. What champion is basically Ornn? It's Sion. It's going to be Sion next time if it's banned. Is getting some flashes here. Here we go.
Kayla going to get onto effort here. Cube looking for that cast.
Okay.
Tara back in, actually.
Realm Warp.
Realm Warp comes in. Can't quite knock him in just yet, though. Ornn still here, perhaps looking for a turnaround as Baker going to saunter his way in from the top lane, but at the end of the day, just the 1 kill going to go to GEN.G.
They Rambo in there, they trust they have the damage, and they do. Nice cast from Cube as well on top of it. Tara's summoned it down, Blank summoned it down, even Effort used Flash there. Can GEN.G make a Baron play? While the Vel'Koz has his Flash up, there is certainly some punishment available here when the ults come back on the side of GEN.G. Never a good spot. No flashes used by Camille the entire time, and finally they say there's a wall here where there's a will, there's a way. They go in on the Tahm Kench. He's got nowhere to go. Love the Cuvée cask there. They get a lot of summoners, a single kill, and suddenly something to play around on the side of GEN.G.
Tara doesn't die, but they get his flash at the end of the day. There's the perfect cask there. Knew that already. Effort was going to go down. So that does raise a question to the side of SKT. You know, Haru now does have his Trinity Force after the play. Not going to be as squishy and not scary anymore. Definitely another man to respect on the GEN.G roster.
Okay, GEN.G. Couldn't get it done early. Now you make some nice assertive plays, but you need to return to them. They haven't been the best about that in this series. We've seen good moves, but not necessarily good capitalizations by GEN.G when they're ahead, and it's all about returning to the fight. Again, thinking of the LPL, the first fight happens, and as you guys know, the replay starts and we're into another fight the moment we come back, and that is where someone like Camille, with a massive engage range, can truly punish. So, Trinity Force is there, Warrior's there. If you look at it the wrong way and don't have Tahm Kench to back you up, you're gonna die.
Haru here, looking to clear out as much vision as possible.
Rylai's.
Yeah.
3rd item here from Rise, so a bit more tankiness, a bit more utility. It's a catch build. They got this Rise and also Camille's pick, so catch is certainly something they are able to do, and SKT will probably be priced into staying as 5, protecting Faker wherever possible. Phalanx, if you will.
Yep, and speaking of Faker, looks like he's looking to the Rabadon's Death Cap as his next item here. Just going for this straight up as much AP as possible. Already has a bit of penetration with the Morellonomicon, I should say. But,
and if the fight happens in front of him, he researches people, it's 2 damage anyway, so the penetration doesn't mean as much on that ultimate. KT walk up, they've got that force of the Ornn Horn, but Brahm's Unbreakable still available. Uh-oh.
Okay, that's not the combination you're looking for.
Oops. Does buy some time for Rai split push, but that's not going to do too much. That is some anti-synergy. Saw it with Untara and Faker in the previous game. Realm Warp out by Crown.
Would have been interesting to see if they could try to go for a pick with the Realm Warp, but again, just trying to get out of there. Doesn't want to get too aggressive. Next Drake is going to be Ocean, so neither team going to be focusing too much on that. They'd like another one to respawn here, Gen.G. Lots of pressure up towards that Ocean. We'll see if they go to it.
And there is the chance, because of those picks and the game being kind of reset a little bit, Gen.G getting a bit more of an advantage, Crown walks up, that the Infinity Edge might be there for Ruler. He's just the recipe short of 3 items, and that means he definitely has threat on both Untara effort and the rest of SKT.
Would love to see how much gold he's sitting at right now, just to see exactly how far away he is.
Seems like he
He's
might have it.
back right now, so let's see if he does pick that up. Would assume he does. There it is, Infinity Edge completed for our boy Ruler, who hasn't had the cleanest series so far. He's been the big carry for Gen.G, especially in summer, especially this year. Even amongst the 80 carry meta, the awesome dudes coming in, he was not one of them. Still able to carry on these 80 carries. We'll see if he can shore that up with a fantastic Ashe game this time around.
My eyes in a team fight are going to be drawn to the 2 junglers, because both of them want to profit on a game state and just take over a team fight, but you can look at an Infinity Edge crit killing Blank instantly and Camille diving in and being blown up. So I feel like whichever makes the most of the utility they do have might actually be the tipping point, even if there'll be other people cleaning up after either Blank or Haru makes a big moment.
Tara just waiting, but Cuvee, if he's ever near him, he can just cast the Ornn away, as we did see earlier on at the Dragon fight. Nice play. Good poke damage from Faker so far onto J and Ruler. Look at how annoying this pesky Rise is being in the top lane so far. Crown didn't have the best mid game, but he's trying to make up for it.
Patched out the Deficio escape so long ago, the stopwatch and Realm Warp play, but still you can be so slippery on the side. He's very, very tanky with a decent amount of ability power as well, so just trying to draw SKT. We've already said it a couple times, SKT want to be a Phalanx. Roll up as 5, have a bit of a triumphant guard in front of Ezreal and Vel'Koz, and Faker opens up. So knowing that, Gen.G played the 1-3-1 that Rise first pick meta we remember from 1 month ago always showed. They get another Drake, the next spawn will be Elder, but not the highest value of forest. That's going to be an Abyssal Voyage. Where are we going?
This is the way that SKT catch people, and it looks like this time it's J. Faker alone! Only bang on the assist.
And Crown is in trouble.
Yeah, Crown nowhere for you to really go.
Okay.
Faker, though, with the awkward flash. Blank has to get in there with that Lamb's Respite. Crown with a massive shield trying to get away here. Look at the damage that he does. Who's going to be able to take him out here? It's going to be bang and effort, it looks like. Haru not able to secure that one, and Faker will survive in the end.
Ruler, we might see Crown being a mini raid boss, but just like you learn from World of Warcraft, you get your friends together and you take down that raid boss. Raid boss down, 2 members down. SKT can't turn it into a Baron, but great play from them.
Really gotta like that one. Just, they see the Braum and award, they say, we're going. As easy as you'd like. Nowhere for him to escape to.
Watch the spell stack up. He's researched, and damn does he die instantly. That shield does nothing against the Disintegration Ray. Crown, as you can see, is just a monster with these items, but Lamb's Respite perfect from Bang. They chase him down. If you came 1 by 1, you might fall, but speaking of falling,
how about a straight-up fight? Who's going to win this one? They still don't have Crown yet, which is why SKT is going for a nice arrow onto Faker. No cleanse for him. Looking for the cast. He's getting pretty low, but here comes the Ornhorn, who is going to be knocked out of that one. Teleport is committed to even after all that.
That was the sick Unbreakable, the very standard play coming through from J. No fantastic mechanics, but usually you want to bait it out before the fight. Ornhorn down. Minions pushing. Minions a little bit here when it comes to actually forcing the enemy away, but they can't walk up and get any turret damage, can Gen.G.
Even the Abyssal Voyage going to be committed to. Funny to see the Zeke's conversions being popped after that one, but does happen. Looking for picks on the backside, but nobody can get one here. Crown going to return to the top side and do what he does best and split push. But again, Summoners down on him. See if they look for another pick onto Rise.
See if Ruler just launches the arrow to engage. Deep teleport.
Trying to get behind them
He
right
completed
now.
it too.
Okay, QV gonna come in here, the Realm Warp. Nice cast on a Faker, but Effort able to gobble him up. He is gonna survive the counter engage here. Look at that poke on a Haru. Faker nearly takes him out, but Ruler, or rather Crown, is able to take down the Tom Kench on the backside. And Faker getting super low as well. Crown able to stand up to that counter play.
Really bold for QV to finish that teleport. Didn't look like the rest of the team were completely ready to go, but he gets the bounce onto Faker, who doesn't have flash, and that's why he goes for it. He knows the right cast gets the right man. SKT in disarray. Ruler gets some free hits. They get 1 kill. But we lower our voices again because we're not sure if 1 kill means Baron. Control ward down. Haru is so low, he might just die.
Well, 2-shot barrage is gonna miss. Does proc that Baron to do a little bit of extra damage to Crown, but at the end of the day, just the poke is enough to get Haru out of that Baron pit, which means that SKT, they buy more time for themselves. Down a bunch of gold here, just about 2,000. But now they're looking for a play. They know that Haru and the Rise did just back, and they are going to start it.
And they know Realm Warp's down as well, so here we go. They start the Baron. They got a lot of Baron damage. Play the Ruin King onto the Kindred.
Effort in an awkward spot, though. Red buff here onto Bang. They're trying to take him out. Just one more will do it. He's super low, and down he will go. As Bang and Untara able to follow up, the kill will go to Blank. Now 5v4. Orhorn still left available. Uh-oh, Effort is going to get caught on the top side, though. That's kind of unfortunate. Looking for Ruler, but he's going to miss the knock-up. And so 1 for 1. The support goes down.
Bit of undisciplined play from Effort on the side there, and he just gets taken down almost instantly by aforementioned raid boss, Rise, Rylai's, Void Stuff. 6 items if you include the control ward slot here. He is in really big form. He hasn't been able to hit a team fight too many times. Zornhorn comes down. He's kind of frustrated around the middle of a fight. This time he can be on the side, gets the assassination. We're going to watch the replay. Someone has to walk up because Rise is not there and doesn't have the Realm Warp. Nice play by Untara. Watch his positioning. Always there to body block any body slams, and no escape path for QV.
You see over here that Effort walks over that one, actually face checks the control ward. And knows there's a control ward in the bush, by the way.
But he would love to kill it. I see the shake of your head, and I note it, Valdez.
Feels bad, man.
Hey, how many people this season have lost a game for their team clearing a control ward? It's often Vel'Koz, if you remember. Kuro, our biggest offender. Kuro, of course, qualified for Worlds with the victory for Katie Rolster the other day. That's why Afrika are not in this gauntlet.
At least they are in the World Championship. SKT still struggling to get there. Arrow going to go on to Effort this time around. The cleanse. He's going to come out, but it's just not enough. Nice knock out of the Lambs.
That's 2 kills.
Tara's going to go down 2. Gen.G looking for more, not going to get it though.
Realm Warp half a second too late. Blank doesn't pull the trigger. They don't manage to get him out there, but Faker over the wall. Red side Vel'Koz, they need to find a way to get him.
Oh boy, well Faker all alone here. Should be an easy kill afterwards. Lining up that laser. He's going to do a bit of damage, but he goes down anyway. Not going to use any summoners. He knows he's dead.
I think Faker made a mistake there. He might have thought it was on cooldown, the Hextech ultimatum, but it doesn't matter if you have double summoners. He's just going to die over the pit. Vel'Koz poking out can always steal a Baron. This Baron's going the way of Gen.G.
How about a raid boss up against Bang and Blank? They both have 100% health here, but they know now that the Baron has gone down that they cannot go for the Elder Drake, and Gen.G looking to bring this to Game 5.
And SKT looking for group on this one. This raid boss they can't deal with. 2 of them in close proximity, the Elder and Crown. Crown's going to be on ushering duty as he ushers in the double buffs to Gen.G.
Super easy take from Gen.G. It's their game to win now, up about 6,000 gold and double buffs on every single member. Let's take a look at how the fight started again.
And this has been Gen.G's way, is let's just kill the Toadfish, take him down every time. He goes back in, where's the ult's too late from Blank. I'm not even sure he would have been in the radius. Then Untara, who needs Tom Kench to be alive for his positioning to be smart, ends up caught because of that. It's definitely some cascading mistakes. And then you say Faker, he's like, I'm fine, I'm poking over the wall. Remember Camille? Hextech ultimatum comes in, and Faker's in the death chamber too.
Finally, the Camille is doing something in this game. That's a couple of fantastic engages from Haru. This time a bit of a follow-up as Faker did not respect it. You got to know that he's feeling powerful on the Vel'Koz, but he hasn't really had that moment to shine, that moment where he turns and knocks and researches everybody and just kills them all at once. Still waiting for that one.
And in the end, this Camille's actually found value in spite of the early game going against Camille, as we've seen so frequently. I think her team has been so on ball to actually take advantage of picks, and they have so much hard crowd control that they've babied Camille through a really rough early game phase. Now we're seeing the best of everything. The GA is there. She can dive in anytime. Can Gen.G force us to a Game 5, just like that 2016 World Championship? On the full 5 games, SKT's shown so much, but Gen.G with Haru showing a lot in this Game 4.
With the Baron buff and the Elder Drake, they can barely even clear the minions, as Gen.G still going to take it slow. They're not going to dive any turrets just yet. Maybe if they see Faker here, but Faker able to push Haru away for now.
Browns, but so much of this game in the side lanes, why he has so much CS. He keeps pushing up. The Baron buff is gone. As Effort almost straight up dies.
Cleanse forced out onto Faker too, and he nearly goes down to
He
Faker.
almost died to the Elder Burn from the AoE of the Ash Arrow damage. That is such an unlikely way to be chunked out, but 3 stacks of Elder damage is plenty of it. Goodbye, Inhibitor.
Yeah, 2 inhibitors pretty much granted for the side. Well, that was not the best Ray I've ever seen from Faker. Just trying to discourage them from coming any closer, I suppose.
We take a bit of a deep breath, a bit of an exhale, and it seems like we're going to do this again. It didn't look on the cards after Game 3, I must admit. A complete destruction of Gen.G. If you guys missed game number 3, 22-minute victory. This has been at Gen.G pace, and didn't necessarily seem on the cards, but they've been able to be clutch when they needed to be. Maybe we're seeing the 13-5 plus 12 game score at Gen.G that kind of did the same thing every game in regular season, and by the end was found out. They never actually were in candidacy for the final, it turns out. If we look back at SKT, 16 games different in terms of game score, -4 to the plus 12. We're up and down at the best of times. We've seen the best of them, 2 games this series. They might have to summon that best once again for back-to-back Game 5 in Korean playoff matches.
As long as no further mistakes are made, SKT still have that dream, that ideal team fight, but Gen.G, they've been really good about not getting caught, not making mistakes, and that's exactly what you need to do in a game like this. Kive's been really strong on the Gragas. You can tell why. Gragas is getting banned out every single game, including LCK Finals. You just don't want to see that if you're going up against a strong Gragas player. It can get so much value.
And Crown's looking to go 2-1. Here we go. Get Tom Kench.
Nice knock-up with the cast once again. No knock-up there from Faker, just going to laser them back. Ruler
so
takes
much damage.
A lot of damage there, but at the end of the day, even the top lane, they can barely get away here. Crown's going to get knocked up, but where's the follow-up? Okay, Abyssal Voyage coming in.
Interrupted.
Look at the bottom lane. They're still pushing in. Desperately blank and Effort trying to push them back for now.
Couldn't tell if it was cancelled or interrupted, but did not finish the channel there, did Effort. There's just so much to respect here. Something's got to give for SKT. They don't have an ult. Here we go.
They get the knock-up on a Ruler, and decent amount of damage. Good unbreakable by Core JD to just no slow to go down onto Kyve. The base is just barely being held together. They're holding on by their pinkies right now as SKT.
Gen.G will keep this up until there's an objective to fall back to. Second Elder buff or Baron are those objectives. Mana bars, health bars, very healthy, very topped up. Gen.G pushing in the mid lane, they push in the bot lane. This should be the target going down. Here's the ult again.
Good cast again, but Kyve is going to get super low. The Ray comes in through that stone plate, but it's not enough to take him out. The bottom turret goes down, the Nexus turret as well. And slowly but surely, Gen.G are doing the trick.
SKT are making some nice moves, but the sins of the past are keeping them down. Is there any way for them to take the series here? It's looking like no.
They got a turret, a Nexus, and a Dream. That's what SKT are holding on to right now, but Gen.G, they can feel the victory right now. They can taste it. They're so close, but they're not going to take it right now.
Well, they know SKT have never left the base, so it's going to be some Trinket Wards and Ezreal Ultimate, but not many other ways to contest Vision. Full reset from Gen.G. Time for everyone to start playing around with their items. Basically 5 items on everyone. We'll see if that's going to be The Sterix, there it is, Sterix GA. That GA never popped onto the Camille. The GA is, of course, still alive for the Ashe. Gonna have to kill these people a couple of times and keep coming back from the grave, GEN.G, and maybe they'll never go in the grave as GEN.G. A second Baron buff might be enough to close the game.
Definitely feels that way. There's just double super minions piling down every single lane right now, and even though they have a decent amount of wave clear with the Vel'Koz, they're desperately trying to stop this. They want to fight, perhaps a pick onto Haru. Just one small combo from the Vel'Koz takes away 2/3 of Haru's health, so they got a turret, a Nexus, and a Miracle. That's what they're hoping for.
And they got the Zoo to deal with 3 inhibitor minions, minion buffed waves going in every single lane. Still, they're finding some space to contest. Good wave clear coming through from the Vel'Koz, of course, but it's double siege minions now because of where they're at in the game. SKT have 2 turrets, but they haven't even taken all 3 outers. Can Blank find a way to pull off a miracle steal? Bit of visual bug here. This is too long of a visual lag, by the way. Can we turn over to another angle, please, guys?
Okay.
Yeah, we don't have any extra insight here, guys, so, okay. All right, seems like we might actually have a game issue. Do you think there's a game issue here, Valdez? Could you diagnose one?
Yeah. Only reason I know that is,
Hey,
guys attacking!
Hi,
Yeah.
Baron, how are you?
Baron's not attacking either. Ref ran into the booth. Okay, this is not the time for a game issue.
Well, you know, talking more about the game because we haven't had action, but we hear a call for action. We might be back in. Famous last words. Okay, video games. Oh.
Okay. I would guess that they did this just to make sure that there's no other issue.
I missed what type of issue it was. A headset issue.
Oh,
All
okay.
right, that's not gameplay, guys.
I thought she'd said a hashtag issue.
I know,
I
heard that too. Hey, we've all been on Twitter. You put the tweet out, then you realize, oh,
hashtag
crap.
LCL?
Issue.
No, that's the wrong
That's
league.
the wrong league. 2017, that's last year.
Yeah.
Oh.
Join me and Papa Smurfy? Oh, no, that's the wrong guy.
No one will know what that means.
Okay,
We know what
we're
this
back.
means, though. Where's Effort at? Watch Effort, by the way. All right, Faker's wave clearing. We're not going to get a contest on the Baron. We didn't think there was going to be one. If you guys remember all the way back, the Baron was going to be a freebie. It confirmed is a freebie. Oh boy, no remake necessary, it seems. Let's see if GEN.G can dot the I's, cross the T's. This is their second Baron. But there's 40 seconds to the second Elder, and then we're getting to the insane wacko world of double Infernal Baron buff. So double Infernal, double Baron, and that double Infernal doing that extra. So double Elder doing that extra burn damage on the true damage. We're getting to crazy true damage, especially from Ashe.
No Infernals, just a lot of true damage, as you mentioned, and they're going to gladly take this. Some inhibitors are being respawned. They're going to have Faker push in the bottom side, and maybe this is where SKT make their final stand.
Well, like you say, they've got some up, so maybe they can actually force a fight where they just don't have to be pushed back to minions, but do GEN.G want to even opt into that? He is Ornn. He can just collide down mid lane and launch that Ornn horn. Bit of poke here to work out where everyone's at. Here's that second Elder, SKT, because of the minion waves pushing, could actually try to fight.
And if they win a fight, it could be huge. Remember, guys, 45 minutes into the game, they get position on the Elder here. Who's it going to go down to? Get the knock-up on the Cuvée. He's looking for the cask, and it flash. It does go to the side of GEN.G. Nicely done by Haru. Blank, though, still available. The Huntara is going to go down in the end. The Ashe Arrow comes through here, but now Faker, with nowhere to run, is able to flash away. Can he survive, though? Is able to get the GA away, but down he goes. One crit to the face, and that should be able to do it. Blank and Effort on the run here. The rest of GEN.G pushing for the win.
Cuvée just wants to interrupt. Doesn't want to die, of course, but he's going to waste time. Look at how much true damage every auto does. Only gets one in. Will he get the kill? I think this might kill. We won't see it. It'll be off screen if it happens. Rise gets the turret. Haru's just interrupting. The game should end, but Ezreal is alive.
Okay. Just one more auto. Finally, they get it here. They're going to try to Abyssal Voyage and fight for their lives, but already that Nexus is going to go down. We're going to Game 5 after a long pause. Gen.G able to pull it back for the victory.
Sorry for playing with your hearts, SKT fans. With a pause comes hope, comes optimism, but the door is closed by Gen.G, and just like the LCK final, we're going all 5.
That we are. Gen.G